Prakhar, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you. So, first things first, tell me a little bit about your company, Lime Chat.
Right. So we're a conversational AI company, right? Very simply put, right? We help e-commerce businesses sell, market, support their customers on chat platforms. That platform can be any platform. Outside the US, WhatsApp is pretty big. So WhatsApp is one of our major. WhatsApp is one platform for which we are optimized. But in the US, we're also doing it for Instagram, for your website live chat, for your TikTok, what have you.
hmm And when you
Yeah.
say your website live chat, that little kind of like Zendesk style chat that a
Yeah.
lot of people see on the website. So,
Yeah.
um, that's interesting to me because again, in the U.S., I know some people use it, not everyone. My cousin that lives in Ireland um,
Mhm.
uses WhatsApp, but why did
Right.
you choose that as the primary platform for your service?
Right. I think it has a lot to do with where we started. So I think we started with India. We're a company that was started in India. So WhatsApp here is the platform of choice. So almost. I think the other day I was reading some statistics, and it said WhatsApp has a fairly amazing penetration into the Indian market, and the average WhatsApp user, right? The average WhatsApp user in all of Asia, I would say, is spending on average almost 50 minutes per day on that app. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. So, I mean, that was, I think, indication enough for us to kind of take this platform seriously. All the e-commerce brands that we work with, they also requested that, hey, we receive a lot of queries on WhatsApp. So if you are building an engagement tool, if you are building something that will help us use a communications platform to sell more, to market better, to handle support queries better, it should be WhatsApp. So yeah, that's what we did.
That's very interesting to me
Yeah,
because there are so many of these other types of apps and channels and things like that. And
yeah,
and while I understand that WhatsApp is probably the number one service internationally, I was just
yeah.
curious. So when you're initiating, can you kind of run me through the process at least of what a client can expect when they come to your company if say a client wants to use your service as a brand, um,
Right.
what specifically you do for them and what they can expect from your services.
Right. I think I'd just say two words. It's chat commerce. So if you run an e-commerce brand, you already have a lot of people who either visit your website, or if you run ads where you ask people to message you, right? People already come in and they have a lot of queries. Hey, what's the material like? When will I get it? Right. I
Mhm.
happen to have an engagement. 3 days from now, would you be able to deliver it before that date? Right. So we just take all of that, we automate that, right? You send a query, much like chat gpt. You send a query, you receive an adequate response, right? And we're able to track. Usually brands get these queries around, hey, where's my order? Please cancel it, things like those. Is it good for my skin, right? This is a
Mhm.
product that's certainly for dry skin, will it suit me, things like those. We automate on chat. And it's basically like when a customer converses with a brand, right? They're giving away a lot of information on chat, right? So we build these personas for these brands that, hey, this is the customer, or this is one of your customers who would benefit from a campaign like this, maybe like a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday campaign. Maybe another persona where somebody openly mentions that, hey, I'm not really into discounts. They only have really, really in-depth questions about the product. We tell them, hey, I mean, you're better off sending this one-time promotion to a client or to a customer who is not of this type, right? So we help you with basically, again, to use those two words, chat commerce. So think of it like this. Let's say let's have one of what's your favorite D2C brand? What's your favorite e-commerce brand these days?
I don't know. We'll say Nike.
Yeah, awesome. So let's say you want to buy from Nike on WhatsApp. So you don't have to open the website. You don't have to go to an Amazon. you have Nike in your WhatsApp. You just message, hey, I'm looking for something like this, size 8, maybe, maybe give it to me in black, and you get a list of options. You select and you pay and complete that entire transaction within chat itself. So you don't have to leave chat to make a purchase. Right now, this is the first part where our AI helps Nike or a similar brand automate these queries. The second part is, now Nike knows Alex now, right? Because Alex has just
Mhm.
messaged Nike. So all communication that you'll receive from Nike from this point onwards will be optimized. We'll have this memory in mind that, okay, we had this conversation and Alex likes this. So next time, let's say there's a release, there's a rollout of a product that's similar to the one that you asked for, you'll know about it. And it's all happening on a chat platform. So
Mhm.
it's basically that.
And one of the big advantages too, it being totally and completely involved on WhatsApp, is there's less opportunities to drop the sale, essentially. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
especially when you're on like a laptop or a website, or you start on Facebook, then you go to a different website, then you go to a third website to actually pay for products sometimes, and it just
Yeah.
becomes to the point where I don't know what I'm doing here, and I don't know if it's worth it. But when you're all on WhatsApp, it feels so much more legitimate.
Right.
Was that part of the goal, the objective?
I mean, definitely. So I think I would say I basically say, I mean, that what we found out is people are, so when somebody messages you, think about it, right? They have a pain point, right? And it's these high intent users that message you on a platform like, let's say, WhatsApp, or even a live chat, right? I ask people, hey, when was the last time you went to a website and you clicked on that Zendesk? I mean, probably. I mean, I've never done it, right? so
Hmm.
so it's basically, these are people who with high intents, right? These people want to buy from you. These people have a query that they that they see, like, basically they see it fit that, hey, I'll take an extra 30 seconds out, I'll type this message and send to this brand, right? Now this, I mean, e-commerce brand would love somebody like this, wouldn't they? Right? This is somebody who wants my products or is interested in my products, right? Why do I not reach them out? And if you can have a channel that does not perish, right? And why I use the word perish is, let's say I go to Nike's website right now, maybe tomorrow I'm not somebody who goes through my previously open tabs. I think I have more than 1,000 open right now. I'm not going to go through each one of them and then, okay, oh, I was in this frame of mind. Maybe I was looking at size 8, black sneakers, maybe something for my cousin. But if it's WhatsApp, it's all there, right? So if you receive a message, you'll just scroll up and say, oh yeah, I was looking for this, right? And okay, Nike has sent me this. So that's the advantage of having that conversation on chat.
Absolutely. It seems like a major advantage. How do you determine who your target audience is for a brand? What are some of the things that you look at if someone, if a brand wanted to engage a person? So let's say vice versa, the other way around.
Right. So if a brand wants to engage a person, right, very simply, based on when people buy or when people message you, based on let's say you're somebody who only buys during let's say Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or maybe
Hmm.
when there are discounts going on, right? Let's say you're a discount digger, right? Some people only buy when a fresh stock arrives, right? So it's just personalization, right? And we build on top of these logics that brands already have. So if you ask a brand that, hey, I mean, do you know who your discount diggers are? They probably all know already, right? What we do to that is we add conversational data. So we're basically a company that analyzes chat information, chat history, and then we're able to get to that. Then we're able to kind of figure out, okay, who will be, let's say, most suited on a channel like WhatsApp. You don't want to send out too many messages in a given day, right? Because people don't like receiving these messages. So let's say you only have 100,000 messages in your kitty for a given day, right? Lime
Hmm.
chat tells you, okay, these are the 100,000 people you should send to for maximum conversion.
Hmm.
So that's also something we've built. Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting that there is that kind of not spam aspect to it, but that it's possible. You don't want to be too intrusive. So on a more specific level, how does a brand initiate a conversation on WhatsApp? I mean, what are the actual linguistics used in the marketing or sales technique?
Right. I think the very first thing is obviously not sending it to somebody who has not consented to it. Right. That's obviously the basics. Right. What we recommend brands do is that, hey, do it transactionally, in the sense that somebody's done something on your website, right? Let's say it has to be personalized per se, right? So let's say if I go to your website, I check out all the options, and then I click notify me on this one product. Only message them, when that product is back in stock, right? It should add value to the customer,
Mm-hmm.
right? So all the flows, all the automations that we've built somehow guide a brand in this direction, that hey, just because you have, let's say, 10,000 odd people who have bought from you before, you should not pick up that list and send a broadcast to all of them, right? One is consent, and two is obviously adding value to the client. So these are the basics. I think it's not too different from email marketing if you think about it.
Sure.
Right? It's just that email has you know less views, less click-through rates, etc., etc. Right? It's not a place where somebody spends 50 minutes per day, right? Very simply put. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very similar to email marketing, just that it's much more active, it's much more personal. So you have to be even more aware of, when you're sending that message, even more aware of, hey, do you have the consent to send this message? Things like those.
Mm-hmm. And it's more live, it's more dynamic. People are usually messaging every 30 seconds compared to an email, which is like 30 minutes or something like that. So you kind of gotta bob and weave in real time a little better. Can you automate specific responses depending on how a customer is engaging with the chat? I mean, how does that process actually look?
So it's very, I would say, obviously, simple would not be the right term to use for this, but
simple to you, maybe not to me.
Yeah, but very simply, it's basically we've built an intent detection model, right? So think of it like you say things like "Hi, hello, how are you?" Right? That's all intent greet. So we basically the AI understands that, okay, you're somebody who's greeting, right? Let's say you go to a certain product and then you ask questions about how to use this, what's the material like. So we understand, okay, this is the intent is to know more about this product, right? So a lot of it is just realizing or figuring out what you're asking about and going to your website and then checking and then responding back on chat itself. So yeah, it's pretty simple. The most tricky part, I would say, is when, let's say, you want to automate your order cancellation. Somebody's placed an order and then they text you, hey, I want to cancel it, right? And for you to automate that, you need to have certain logics built into the system, right? Do the check whether it's been shipped or not. Do the check, okay, if it's, let's say, a high value order, let's say it's greater than $300-$400, would you not want to cancel it instantly? Let's say if it's a small amount order. So all these checks and balances, we've built into the system, so a brand can then just come in, set up all of this, and then start using automation, so to speak.
And I'll tell you from personal experience that I think one of the things that frustrates me most when I'm specifically chatting with an automation or with a robot essentially, is that it takes me so long to talk to a person to solve my problem, that it's trying to be solved in a way that I'm not getting the solution that I want, or I'm not getting the questions that I'm asking answered, and it takes a little longer than I'd like to finally get to speak to an agent of some sort. How do you prevent from customers or potential customers from getting frustrated with that process and thus not wanting to use that brand at all, especially since you're kind of more, I mean, you're obviously in the retention business as much as the conversion business, but how do you kind of prevent that from happening?
I think very simply put, why I think, and this was something that we dove deep on almost 3 years ago, that why does this happen with automation experiences? Like you mentioned, right? It takes you so long. It takes so long for you to reach to a human, right? The more fundamental question we asked was, why do you actually need to reach to a human, right? Why do you actually need to talk to a human?
Sure.
Right. That's something that we figured out. And why most automation tools fail to give that experience is because they're horizontal systems. So by horizontal systems, I mean they'll work for banking, they'll work for e-commerce, they'll work for, let's say, maybe a restaurant, right? They're built so they're built to, in a way, enable, let's say, the business to create their own bot flows, to create their own automation, I would say journeys. So let's say, I, as a restaurant owner, my entire life I've been, frying steaks, or maybe, all my life I've been, tossing up woks. I don't know anything about making the perfect automation flow, right? So I have to rely on what this automation tool is telling me. So and naturally I'll not be able to make an experience that's impressive. So what we realized really early on is that if we have to truly kill that experience, if by and I mean kill in a good way, if you have to truly make a kick-ass customer automation journey, we'll have to be a vertical company, in that we only work in one domain, and within that domain everything we have covered. So we picked e-commerce because obviously e-commerce, growing as ever, we will continue growing. So yeah, we kind of built a system that was built, optimized, and planned for the e-commerce use case. So
Mhm.
that's how we kind of got covered ourselves on that front.
Well, and I feel like that takes so much pressure off of the brand as well, to have to build these perfect flows to where a customer comes in and the automation or the program is trying to fit their questions in a specific box, almost, where it's like you guys are able to help that brand, that restaurant owner in your example, build all these scenarios, worst case scenarios of like, okay, this is actually like a D question, so this is how it would respond since it fits in this box, compared to trying to essentially fit a square peg in a round hole.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
yeah, I'm interested how the retention and first time conversions are better than other marketing techniques with WhatsApp.
Oh my, I think I can go all day long on this, but I'll give you broad numbers. So we are experimenting with, like I said, right? If you run ads where you invite people to chat with you, right? So in India, we're calling it, and like India, Southeast Asia, Brazil, right? We're calling it CTWA, click to WhatsApp ads, where you show somebody an ad and you don't say to them, hey, go to my website and check these things out again. And then Google Pixel or Facebook Pixel will track you, and then we'll send you an email, and then we'll show you these ads again on Instagram. Just tell them, hey, if you're interested, just drop us a DM. We'll sort it out, right? And then you're able to figure out, okay, what product are they truly interested in? It's like an interactive journey on chat, and obviously there will be drop offs, but in this case, it's personalized. It's in their DMs. You can follow up, and you can, how we like to call it, is up the ante, right? Obviously, this is what brands do. So you go, you show interest in a certain product. Obviously you drop off, then they'll reach out to you, in their minds, more and more creatively, to give you more discounts, to kind of make it more easy for you to purchase, right? Because this is a straight, interaction. There's no, let's say, an ad involved. There are no, I would say, cases involved where you have to go to Facebook again to see that again, to see that ad again, or maybe you have to go to Instagram again or TikTok again to see that ad again, where you initially, went to the website through. It's on your WhatsApp, it's on chat itself. You can just simply go and then revisit that conversation. If you receive an update, you know exactly what you discussed the last time. Conversions are, I would say, so the ROAS numbers that we are seeing is 2.7x a minimum, right? So if you're spending $100 and you're getting a certain amount of revenue, you'll be getting 2.7 that if you happen to do that same on let's say, click to a DM ad. Maybe I wouldn't call it WhatsApp, but click to a DM ad. That this can be Instagram DM as well.
Sure.
So that's the kind of conversion numbers we are seeing, right? The secret sauce here is very simple: a compelling first time user journey, right? And two, a really strong follow up, personalized follow up system, right? So these
Mhm.
are basically the two things that go into the secret sauce to these higher conversions. In terms of retention, right? Um, it's obviously very tough to put like a definitive number to this, but it's generally, when and again, when I speak of generally, I mean from the very time the person has bought, they're in your retention journey on WhatsApp, right? For these customers, compared to, let's say, the ones which are not in a WhatsApp journey, right? Retention is 30% higher, and CLTV is almost 44 to 47. I mean, depending on, the kind of brand you also run, but it's in general 40% higher than let's say normal conversions that happen through email, WhatsApp, email or the website. So that's basically what WhatsApp is capable of, and not just WhatsApp, any conversational medium, like even Instagram DM, right, for that matter. So
and
that's
we'll definitely talk about the Instagram DM stuff. I think that's very interesting. That's something you guys have been cooking for a little bit now. And generally, when you're comparing the efficacy of your work, it's this kick to DM versus email and SMS. Is that kind of what you're trying to compete with or measure up against?
So for click to DM, it's like somebody views your ad maybe for the first or second time, and then they're coming to talk to you, right? Over there, obviously, we can't, like, over there the comparison is straightforward. In a straightforward way, it's with the website conversions. So you run the same ad, let's say same creatives, let's say maybe a middle of the funnel type of an audience which somehow knows your brand, has interacted with your ads before, right? If when we ran A/B tests, conversions were basically 2.7x of what you saw in a primitive ad. I mean, I call it primitive, like it was long ago, but let's say ads what people have been used to. You invite people to the website, so the ROAS that we're able to generate is 2.7x. For the retention journeys, which I mentioned, where somebody is carefully pushed into an automation flow or a retention journey, as we call it, right? A user journey is again is comparable to SMS and email, right? So that's the crux, I think.
Great, that's impressive. So, how do you determine when to stop engaging with a specific customer or subset of customers to avoid being marked as spam?
Right, that's an awesome question. So, first of all, very simply, I mean, so we maintain it like this is, I would say, really good practice that if you are messaging somebody or if you're conversing with somebody as a brand on a personal medium or a personal platform like WhatsApp or let's say Instagram DM, you should always give them the option to tap out of that flow. So that's something we send with every message. So in case you don't want to be part of these alerts going forward, just click on this button. Let's stop. So that's where I think roughly that's where 40% people drop off after the first message itself, right? So it's basically telling them, hey, I don't have a problem with your brand, right? It's great product, but just keep me out of this constant pinging on WhatsApp, right? And by constant, I mean again, this entirely depends on how the brand wants to set it up, but we don't recommend doing it any more than twice a month, right? Because again, it's a personal medium, and
I'd
you don't
be
want
okay with that.
Yeah. So that's something we recommend to brands. This is the proactive way of dealing with this. The reactive way is obviously to figure out, okay, how does my quality rating look? So on a platform like WhatsApp, Meta really carefully manages every interaction that if you are a business account on WhatsApp, every interaction that a customer or a user is having with you, they carefully manage it. So let's say a lot of people report you as spam or mark you as spam, your quality rating would start to decline. So the second or the reactive way is to just if you're familiar with online gaming, there's this thing called spray and pray, right? Where you're in a panic situation, you just press on the shoot button and you hope for the best. You do that, and then you obviously, based on the feedback from the controller, you kind of control how much more bullets you're willing to fire. So that's the reactive way of doing things.
I think that's a good analogy, and I like to hear that you usually recommend no more than twice a month, because I'm thinking in my head, oh, these brands are contacting like once a week, every other day, and I would just be like, get out of my hair, honestly. But twice a month, I probably get contacted from like SMS or email stuff at least. Some of them I asked for every day, but that's because I'm really interested in like those opportunities that they're providing. And that's more like newsletter stuff. But like an actual brand contacting me, I think 2 a month is actually really interesting. It would definitely pique my interest more often. So
So just
no,
on that
please.
point, really quickly, I think why 2 a month would also work here is because when you're set, let's say, you go to a certain website, you check something out and you drop off, right? Now you receive 2 messages. One of these messages looks like, hey, Alex, this happened, just click this link, buy. Again, we're not open to having a conversation with you, right? This is the first message that you receive. The second message is, hey, Alex, we know that you were doing this. Now there are just 2 buttons. Explore further, unlock a special discount just for you, right? Now we're gamifying that experience. We're telling you, hey, I mean, if you click on this button, who knows what happens? So even if you send like 2 messages per month of this kind or the second kind, people will click on either of those 2 buttons, and then again they get added to a conversational flow. So in that moment, they can inquire more. They can ask about different products, things like those. So that's the whole idea here.
Because you're turning the experience from a notification initially to an actual conversation starter. Instead of just like, here's some information, you then turn that into like a dialogue that a user can participate in. I think that makes sense. That's pretty intelligent. How does Lime Chat help Shopify stores in terms of utilizing WhatsApp commerce?
Oh my, I'd say in 3 ways, right? One is we help you make a catalog on WhatsApp. But now what does that mean? You are having a conversation with a brand, you're able to access all of their products on the right. That's as simple as that. So while you're, whilst conversing, you can check all their products, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is obviously building these automation flows. So, we help these brands set up support automation journeys, pre-purchase journeys where, like I said, where somebody comes in and they interact, ask about a product, or maybe ask things like, okay, is it suitable for my skin? What's the material of this cloth like? Things like those. We help them with that. And thirdly, it's, basically helping them set up these user journeys on chat. So post-purchase, pre-purchase, in the sense that you've bought a product. Now, what should be the next 5 messages over the next 2 months? That should be getting delivered to Alex. So we help them design all of these things as well.
Simple enough.
Yep.
So you've mentioned it a few times already, and I want to dive into kind of the Instagram side of things. So your newest major endeavor involves working with Meta to integrate Lime Chat into the Instagram platform. What are some of the differences or obstacles in working with Instagram versus WhatsApp?
Oh, bye. That's an awesome question. So very simply, like, think about this. How many websites have you seen where, let's say it's an e-commerce website and they ask for your number, versus how many websites do you see where they ask for your Instagram handle? Like, probably it's like 100% versus 0%. Nobody's asking for your Instagram handles, right? So that's the first challenge, where to create, let's say, an automated journey for, say, a post-purchase journey, right? On Instagram, it's impossible, virtually impossible, because nobody gives you that data. And brands have no interest in receiving that data. Let's say even if I start asking for my for a customer's Instagram handle on my website, right? What if they change it to something else? People usually do that on Instagram, right? So I've potentially lost this customer forever. So that's the first thing, where due to this reason and this reason alone, we're not able to kind of build a platform that allows you to send these alerts to customers by basically having a checkbox on your website that, okay, I consent to this, right? Because obviously you can't do that. So that's the first challenge, where retention becomes really tricky, right? On the retention side, but working with Meta and obviously Meta has rolled out a really awesome feature. I'm not sure if you're aware already. It's called communities, where if you happen to follow Mark Zuckerberg on Instagram, he sends out these weekly or daily updates on these communities. So whoever becomes a part of that community, whoever becomes a part of that, that broadcast list, receives all of these updates on DMs, right? So to like I said, to counter the fact that, okay, nobody's going to give you their Instagram handles on their website, we help brands uh, become these broadcasters and ask people to join their communities. So the Instagram algorithm till now, was really messed up, where brands reach 1 million, 2 million followers, but at the end of the day, you put out a post, only about 100K people are watching it, right? Only about 100K people get it in their feeds, right? So your loyal customers, or there's no sense of community. It's like it's a Pandora's box, right? You never know what's going to come out of it, right? In the sense that you're not too confident about it. So we help them form these communities over Instagram. So let's say, as a brand, let's say Nike, continue with your original example, let's say you want to subscribe to these alerts from Nike. Let's say every time there's a new product that's launched, you can just simply go to their profile and click on that button. Okay, subscribe to this. That's how we're solving the retention, or the one time, or the promotional side of things, where it's the marketing that's involved, right? Uh, on the automation bit, where people come in and then they ask questions and then you have to automate it, it's not too different. I mean, WhatsApp or Instagram or even live chat, people just come in and have two kinds of questions: either questions about products, or questions like, hey, where's my order, can you track it, can you cancel it, things like those. So that's already, our engine is already capable enough, and is deeply integrated with your Shopify store. So people ask these questions, we give them this data instantly, and it's like interacting with a human almost. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, on the automation bit, it's not too different, I would say. Only the kind of queries are somewhat different, right? On the retention bit, it's definitely more tricky, but
Mm-hmm.
Meta has rolled out certain updates that help. Lastly, right, with Instagram, the biggest use case that we came across was comment automation. So if you're a brand with, let's say, 100K followers, you put out a post, very easily you'll be getting 1,000, maybe 800, maybe 700 comments, on every post that you send, right? Most of these, are maybe, hey, can you let me know how much this is for? Price, please, right, etc., etc. People just send you these comments, right? What if I told you there was a way where you can pick up, let's say I am a brand, and let's say Alex comments on Nike's posts, right? You make a comment and then instantly Nike sends you a DM saying, hey, Alex, you asked about the price of this particular product. This is what it is, right? You can use this, you can click on this button to buy. So comment automation becomes even more important. So the biggest use case that we saw, and this was something that was requested by every brand, was, hey, I mean, I get a lot of comments that I can't automate them, because people say a host of different things, and any automation flow that I can build, it'll include at least one response and then multiple options. I can't put options in Instagram DM, because let's say even if I were to put options, what if they respond again? So that's not an interactive medium. That's just a comment. You leave a comment and then it's a comment, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that was the problem. But we built that tech that allows you to take, let's say if Nike has live chat on board, anybody who comments on Nike's posts like price or material or things like those, Nike would be able to just initiate a DM with them automatically. So
Mm-hmm.
now you've kind of picked this person who's just commented, and you've taken them into an interactive channel, which is Instagram DM. So that's something that ties up with the first thing that I told you about automation flows. But yeah, that's how it works.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate the well thought out answer, and frankly, I think the commenting automation, the response to comments automation service you provide is super innovative. It's definitely not anything that I've heard of, and I'm extremely interested how you would determine what's worth automating or following up on. For example,
Hmm.
if Nike posts a picture of a new pair of Air Maxes or something like that, and I say,
Yeah,
these look cool, you're probably going to have
yeah,
like a million comments that all say, awesome, looks great,
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah,
And even negative comments, you could automate this to just
yeah.
to persuade people to get more information about it. So I'm curious kind of um, what you do to determine what's worth following up on.
That's an awesome question. I get that a lot. So at the outset, right? You take a look at any Instagram post, let's say by Nike again. 30 to 40% is just fire emojis saying, hey, I mean, awesome drop, fire emojis, fire emojis, fire emojis.
You're
Usually
totally
people
right.
do that. Yeah. So what we did was when we started working with these brands, we kind of figured out, okay, what are the kind of comments that are the most redundant that brands get, you know, fairly frequently, and these require nothing. You don't need to react to them. You don't need to respond to them. You don't have to do anything. So fire emojis and things like those we kind of added into this list where the bot was not supposed to do anything. There was no conversation or DM that had to be initiated, right? Then came keywords in and around price or cost and things like those. For those, it was somewhat understood that okay, this user wants to understand more about this product and the price of it. So the DM that gets initiated says like something like, hey Alex, you wanted to know more about this product, here are the details. So this is the price, this is the material, things like those, and you can again click on certain buttons and know more about that product, right?
Mhm.
Negative comments, a very big part of it, right? That's I think that was something that was also very heavily requested. People say, my past order is not delivered yet, or maybe received bad service over here and here, right? Things like those. People comment that stuff. You just initiate a DM with them and say, hey, we realize you've not had a great experience. Please let us know what to do. And just two buttons: call our toll free number, or maybe again, in the case of Nike, maybe it'll be so huge that they wouldn't want to do anything. They would just want to kind of get them to just respond in chat, give the right feedback, and then leave. But for a small brand, this means a lot. So for a smaller brand, the severity of the negative comment, we can then initiate a DM and then say, hey, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to explain your
Mhm.
issue? Do you want to get in touch with a human and things like those?
'Cause
So
you're
it's
doing
yeah,
PR or damage control in real time too. I mean, I think that's a huge aspect to it that not a lot of brands are able to do. You can't just like
yeah.
hear what everyone's talking about and be able to say, hey, here's maybe a misconception about what you're thinking about or what you're saying about. And I think there's a lot of value in that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I mean, with some of these Shopify brands that we're working with, they have north of 1 million followers on Instagram, right? Like I said, a post you put, I mean, even if you put a blank picture, you're going to get roughly 1,000 to 2,000 comments, right? Even if it's a blank picture, just take a picture of the sky and just put it. I mean, 1,000 people will comment, right? So and a lot of that would be again fire emojis or maybe something like that. Some of that would be, hey, I got this amazingly like pathetically disappointing service, things like those. And then some people would be some people would actually have like fairly long comments that you would not be able to understand. So you know with like I said, with the engine that we designed, where we just put it into three or four buckets, where one is no reaction, two is more about the product or more about the subject in the picture, right? Third is obviously it's a support, or it's a PR thing, right? Where we have to do
Mhm.
damage control. The tone is that, and fourth is again if it's a long one, it's not the first type where it's a fire emoji, but it's none of the other types also. Nobody's talking about the product, nobody's talking about nobody's talking about bad experiences. Let's say you post a picture and somebody says, hey, long time ago I was in the US, I was doing this and that. Makes no sense. You just initiate a DM and saying, hey, would you want to explain that better? And then obviously
Mhm.
once they respond, that chat flow initiates from there. So
Mhm.
yeah, these four broad buckets I would say are something we design.
How do you, with being so heavily dependent on AI and AI functionality, how do you continue to implement that sort of tech that is evolving at such a rapid rate? I mean, I could imagine it requires a lot of updates, but it is moving at such an exponentially quick rate that I could imagine if you take your eye off the ball for a second, you're in the dust a little bit.
Absolutely. I think what's beautiful here is that end of the day, the functions or the actual steps that maybe like a logical conversation is to be followed by a physical action in most cases, right? So let's say you have a discussion, or let's say you have a conversation with a prospective customer about a product. They'll either buy or they won't buy, right? So with all these advancements, these changes, the latter part, or maybe the actual physical, the action part is not changing. So if somebody wants to track an order, the process would remain the same. If somebody wants to cancel, modify, place, reject an order, the process would not change. What will change, however, is, the words that they use to get you to do that, right? So we just have to kind of, continually advance on those fronts where every day our model gets more and more trained because, we're handling over, 10 million conversations on a given day. So we know what people are saying, what conversations are about products, what conversations are about, support. So we're able to train our systems better on that front. I think, that's where advancements are required. But the core actions, and this thank God we chose to be only an e-commerce focused automation tool, though that's definitely in our control, because the 4 or 5 or maybe even the 10-20 things that get classified as actions remain the same, right? Have remained the same for the last 2 to 3 years. So yeah.
It's got to give you a little bit more peace of mind.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you've stated that, at least your team has stated that you believe messaging channels will be the primary buying medium in the next 5 years.
Yep.
Is that, my question to you is, well, I can wrap my head around that idea. My question to you, Prakhar, is that because of the efficacy or the intended use of marketing via chat and how well it's being used, or simply the growth of messaging channels as a whole?
I think to some extent all of these things, but I would say what will be the most major contributor to this is all of us, and I'm not sure if I should use the word fortunately or unfortunately here, but all of us are starting to hate making decisions for some reason, right? Where, think about how TV has changed, right? Earlier, there were these fixed 50 channels. I mean, this is what's getting broadcast. I mean, you pick one and you watch it, right? Also think, but with now, all of these Netflixes and Hulus and Apple TV, you pretty much, whatever you want, you just put the right command, or maybe even just give a voice command and you get it, right? Same will happen with your products and e-commerce as well. People would want something, people would want to make a purchase, and let's say somebody stumbles upon your brand, they will not want to actually go through a product catalog and then kind of figure out, okay, what is it that I want to buy, what suits my needs the best. You would just maybe you had the option, you just ping them on WhatsApp or ping them on Instagram DM saying, hey, this is what I'm having trouble finding, maybe if you can help me, right? I'm size 8, I like leather sneakers, high rise, something in black and beige, voila, you have your option. So we're as users, right, as buyers, and not just as buyers, I think in all aspects of life, we are getting more and more lazy, right? And I'm not even sure if the lazy is the right word here. Maybe this is how we inherently are. We don't like making these decisions, right? So and at the same time, you're also looking at how ChatGPT is changing up how things are happening, right? So just the other day, and I'll be honest about it, just the other day, I actually had to present something to our board of investors, so all the board members in our company, and we had to calculate all the runway and things like those. So I had two options: either, okay, I know the numbers, I go to this Excel, Google sheet, I'll calculate everything, I put in the formula, or and I get to a final number. I just mention it to ChatGPT saying, hey, this is where I stand right now, this is my revenue, I'm growing at this percent, how much of a runway do I have? So, and I got that, and it was fairly, it was totally accurate. I mean, it was exactly what I would have gotten, if I'd have put in those formulas in that Google sheet, right? So it's about that. I think as humans, we seek personalized conversational experiences, right? That's just how we are, right? And I think with time, like I said, that's why we think that most purchases will start happening on chat, because it's easier. There are fewer decisions to make. You just put in what you want, you make a purchase. You've already bought from a brand. Wow, awesome! You like this brand already. You already have them in your contact list or your WhatsApp, your Instagram DMs. Just ping them again, saying, "Hey, repeat my last order." you're not happy about it. Hey, the last time you delivered this to me was not great. What can we do about it? You automatically get a discount. The next product's in for free. Again, just giving you ideas, right? So
Sure.
I think that's the direction in which we are progressing, and we've seen uh, really solid numbers that also back our claims. So when we started out, uh, we for a major brand in India, which now happens to be like 100 million plus brand, you know, the number of conversions that happened on chat were less than 7%, 8%. So of the total GMV of your brand, less than 5%, 6%, was actually attributable to a platform like a chat platform like WhatsApp or
Hmm.
Instagram DM. Right now, it stands to roughly about 20 to 30%.
Oh, wow. That's some
So
serious
yeah,
growth.
that's yeah, and this is just in the last, I would say, 28 to 30 months. So as a trend, this number is only going to go north, and we're seeing that number climb every day. So yeah, it was for a long time. I used to think that it was, a thought out hypothesis, but now I think we're seeing the numbers also fall in line is a great feeling.
Well, and you and your team are testing that hypothesis daily. I'm very interested in seeing how your relationship with Instagram motivates that. I can imagine probably seeing some of this stuff myself in the coming months. I know that y'all are kind of in that onboarding phase, right? In terms of implementing that. So before I don't want to put the cart before the horse too much, but I'm interested what's next for Lime Chat in terms of what messaging channel is on the horizon for y'all after Instagram.
I think um, so. Very, I would say, pivotal or an important decision we took was to optimize our product to cater to that human need of having personalized conversational experiences and not a platform. So think about, we're just building AI that's able to provide you these experiences. Now, WhatsApp is the platform of choice in basically, rest of the world, as it were, for the
Sure.
US, right? Right now, maybe tomorrow it's something else. Maybe it's Telegram. Maybe it's a third thing. Who knows, right? um, iMessage is fairly common in the US. Maybe tomorrow it's something else. Who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this this thing that humans want, right, which is, like I said, um, personalized conversations, right? That's definitely staying. So whatever platform it is, we'll be there. I think that's how I like to put it. But to give you a more clear answer, I think right now WhatsApp is where it's at. I think WhatsApp will grow in the US as well.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing interesting trends developing. We're seeing increasing demand from our customers also in the US that, hey, would also like to have WhatsApp as an option, because
Mm-hmm.
WhatsApp has penetrated to a fair extent in the US as well. It's not obviously as good as it is in Europe or, let's say, other parts of the world, but it's still growing. So and obviously Meta is moving fast with features like pay on chat or maybe browse products on chat, just like you have on your Amazon, right? You can just go in, type a thing, and you'll have maybe 50, 100 brands that are selling the same thing. You can go and compare, right? It's a marketplace of sorts. Meta is developing that on WhatsApp. So very soon you'll have your own marketplace inside of this chat platform that is WhatsApp, right? So you'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to just open this app, go and figure out what you want, make a purchase on chat itself without having to move out of this platform, which is WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm pretty sure all other platforms will follow. I think that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, WhatsApp is the platform that's looking the most promising to us. But as time progresses, who knows?
And look, Prakhar, you're totally right, and I apologize for coming in from an American perspective. It was like, I don't use this thing, so it's not that big a deal to me. But I do know that it is a big deal. I have international friends; they're always on WhatsApp. I had to download it just to talk with them, and it is definitely
Yeah.
a much bigger deal outside of the U.S. and the world does not revolve around the U.S. In pragmatic, attempting to be diplomatic terms. So you're totally right. WhatsApp is a massive deal. Instagram is a massive deal. My final question for you is, I always end the episodes with this question about how in the e-commerce space, generally entrepreneurs are operating on call all the time, 24/7. And I think that it's extremely important to have stable mental health and work-life balance and work-life harmony in what can be such a high stress and demanding industry. So Prakhar, what do you do with your free time? What sort of hobbies and interests do you pursue to maintain a good mental health and work-life
Yeah,
harmony?
I think it's about having. I mean, definitely. I mean, I could go all in talking about, hey, work-life balance is important, and these are the things that I do to tackle all of these problems. But I myself am a victim here. I'll be very honest, right? 7 days out of 10, I'm just thinking, hey, I mean, when do we put an end to this madness? Things like those again, and those are just things I think which any entrepreneur would relate to across domains, not just in e-commerce. So I think that's part and parcel of the game. What I do, I mean, definitely that's something that's an outlet for me, something which I truly enjoy is I am an avid simulation racer. So I think if you happen to know about what iRacing is, so
Cool.
there's my setup. So those are the pedals. That's my PC. So once I do get the time late in the night, I just sit in, bang in a couple of laps, feel good about myself. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
depends on the kind of day. If it's an American muscle kind of a day, I'll usually do NASCAR or something like the truck series that they have. If it's like high, if it's like it's been an agile day, maybe it'll be Formula One. Who knows? So yeah, that's something that I do. But overall, I think I have been in and out of something that I truly love. This habit as well, and that depends a lot on what kind of work situations are around you. Something that I find really helps is just having that 90 minutes to yourself every day. I mean, it's not something that's too big or too long. In my very humble opinion, I think no matter how busy you are, you can take out 90 days. Maybe you can take out 30 early in the morning, 60 late in the night, but you'll have to figure out and find those 90 minutes to have for only yourself. And because I travel a lot between, let's say, India, the US, Singapore, right? What I usually do is that in these 90 minutes, depending on where I am, either I'll sim race, either I'll hit the gym, either I'll take a long walk, or either I'll just just chill and do nothing. But it's, I think, very important to take a step back and not look at a laptop screen, or not be in calls. So that's something I think really works. So yeah, 90 minutes, just whatever you like, that'll work for you.
That's great. I think that's easily attainable. Prakhar, thank you for joining me, and good luck to Lime Chat and your future endeavors.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.